Untap.
Welcome back to MTGYou, the Magic the Gathering podcast for you. I'm James.
And I've tried just to separate dreams from reality, try to satisfy this wanting, try to stay righteous, try to stay sober, but then I can't win. I'm rich.
Too many cooks. Too many cooks. I'm Damon.
Too many cooks.
Oh
I'm going to be
my
singing it
God.
the rest of the night now. Thanks.
Oh, you already have been. You know, it's Thursday, the 13th of November, 2014. We're coming to you live from Studio U. Thanks for joining us. This is episode 59.
Upkeep.
I hit that button. It takes forever to.
Too many cooks.
Too many cooks. I heard about this.
If you
but I don't know
haven't
what it
not
is.
seen the YouTube video, I suggest you just don't go watch it because it's like the worst 12 minutes of your life wasted.
12 minutes you'll never get back.
But I do suggest you annoy your friends with it, though.
Yep. So, yeah.
Huh.
What's happening in the world of Magic the Gathering?
GP, what was it, Brazil?
No, Madrid.
Madrid is
Yeah,
gonna
those are
be-
totally like right there together.
Yep, they're
Totally.
friends.
And they speak the same language, you know. French.
French.
Sure. Yeah. Because one speaks Portuguese and the other one speaks
Gracias.
Spanish. But yes.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, Brazil
they're
speaks Portuguese
modern.
also.
It's going to be modern soonish.
Yeah, I think it's next week.
next week. So
Yeah.
cool. I'm pretty excited for that. Right in time for Thanksgiving.
MTGYou, where we speak indefinitely, is a never maybes.
Definitely the never maybes. It's like the never-ending story.
So, who played any of the modern decks this week?
Well, we both played Modern today.
I'll be modern. I mean Commander. Because
I actually have not bought one yet. I have money problems, and I'm trying to save it because I'm a poor college kid. So
yeah. Well, I have
but
3 of the decks, so we could play.
we should totally do that.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody's been really psyched about them. I've actually seen the green one play out and the red one, and the red one, dude, truth. Like, it's definitely gave you a pretty good groundwork for red. And by the way, we were wrong on a couple of things last week.
Oh, that's fine.
You weren't here, so you're
off.
never
Well,
wrong.
I give you guys
You're never
permission to be wrong.
I was wrong, at least. I guess, like, they've come out and said, like, Nahiri is actually not Stoneforge Mystic. They're not the same person.
Okay, but I mean, come on.
Like, come on.
They look
Like,
the same.
They look the same.
And this is not me being racist against core. Okay, just because it's a core female doesn't mean they all look the same. I've looked at the cards.
Damn
they look
them white
pretty.
people.
By the way, for you in podcast land, in case you hadn't guessed, Rich is very white. Anyways,
I'm very white.
continuing along.
Yeah. So, what else happened this week? Anything interesting? Anybody?
Did you guys cover last week that they did the official announcement for Dragons of Tarkir?
We
Yep.
talked about dragons.
Okay.
Dragons.
Dragons.
Of
Rig is
Tarkir.
the third gear. Oh, actually, so fun fact. There's this lady she grew up in Russia. She now lives here in the United States. And she actually came by the shop yesterday, which is pretty cool. Because she does like comics and stuff. But she was reading off our Russian booster boxes because she speaks fluent Russian. And
Right,
she's
right.
reading off and
Oh.
stuff like that. It was pretty interesting to kind of like
I'm
hear
sure
her
just
say some
you
stuff.
could probably just sit there and listen to her all day long, just like.
Yeah, like she just kept going on, and like it was kind of cool. I mean, that's really tangent, but like I thought it was really sweet. I guess like they don't have a word for booster in Russian,
So what do they
which
say?
makes sense because like in
Package?
English, I don't think booster was a word until like the space race.
So
or
do they
something,
sound
or like
so it's an
until-
English word adopted? So they say booster.
No, it's
or
like
something?
it's like boostra or something like that.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it's really different. Like I don't know, it was funny. And instead of saying core, they just call it like section, I think, or something like that. I don't remember what she said.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really interesting. But
That's
yeah.
cool. Look, I got a picture of
Yeah, so she's
Stoneforge up there.
totes.
See, Stoneforge. I mean, it looks
What's the
it's
other one
pretty
you were
similar. The new Commander, Nahiri.
Nahiri.
Oh yeah.
In podcast line, we're looking at Stoneforge Mystic and Nahiri.
Yeah, we're just
comparing and
comparing them.
contrasting.
Nah.
Compare and contrast.
Nah.
Listen,
here.
friends, while we talk about.
How do you spell Nahiri?
I think it's Nihiri.
Oh. Nah. Oh, it's Nihiri.
So
people say things. Oh, that's nigiri.
for you know,
Type of sushi. So here's Nahiri.
Did you mean nigiri, the sushi?
Oh man.
nigiri.
No, not
It's not
nigiri. I want nihiri.
Shoot.
Speaking of sushi,
Okay, guys, I'm like, you guys are going on and on
rather
about
like sushi a whole lot.
sushi's really good. Sasame.
So, okay, anything else happening?
No, I think we're good to go through.
Not that I know of, man. I haven't heard a whole lot. This
By
week.
the way, Blades is gone this week. I just wanted to.
Oh yeah, we should recognize.
Yeah, he had a little family thing come up.
He
See, look at this.
is being a good husband. And
So
a
I'm looking
good
at it on my computer right now.
father.
Do you see this business? It looks
I agree. Same outfit and everything.
Same
dude.
outfit
Same
and everything.
Stinking outfit.
She got like purple arms on both of like her.
I think
okay,
they're
not purple
pulling her
arms, but
legs.
She got like purple like cloth, and she's got like this crazy
And the leather
off the
jerkin,
shoulders,
like
yeah,
leather jerkin
like
thing.
leather jerkin deal, and I
What's going
just
on here?
She has the same hairdo.
same. Even the little
Girl,
floopty woo.
Work that updo.
She got the floopty on the top of her head.
Updo.
This is ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's
Jessica
insane.
Nigiri. No, we're not talking about Jessica.
Jessica Nigiri though does do a great. Oh man, would it be awesome if Nigiri did Nigiri?
You should have your wife message
Just
her.
message her. I think that maybe they're like on what is that? Not Imager, but
Tumblr.
Tumblr. Maybe they're Tumblr friends. I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, there it is.
Anyways,
Oh, I know your wife is obsessed with Jessica Nigiri though, so
yeah, she does cool stuff.
she's also that's all I want to leave.
Yeah.
As a
I do
married
like
guy,
her cosplaying.
she does some excellent work.
As
with
a
her.
single guy, she does a great job too. But I think
I admire the costumes that she makes. She does them with great skill.
Okay, so here we go.
Do we have the new Nigiri, or are we going to move on?
I was gonna. I was trying to, but
Okay, that's fine.
Let me see.
It's good TV, folks.
so.
I got Nigiri again.
Yeah.
I
sorry.
type in
You want me to
Nigiri.
find?
Do you want me to email you the picture?
Find you the picture? Jeez.
My gosh! And then I go to show it, and it won't show
So
up.
I'm finishing up Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and other news.
I'm just.
getting.
I'll
found,
tell you, I am so fed up with my ability to show cards
and
on this.
because on Netflix they only have up to episode 13 on season 4, so I had to go to a different website to go find them, and I'm loving it. Gosh, damn, the freaking Full Metal Alchemist is the truth.
Yeah?
Go watch it if you haven't watched it yet. It's good.
That's one I've always kind of shied away from. I don't know why.
I remember making fun of kids in like junior high who watched it,
right.
like because I was like, nerds.
And now
and
at
I
the
watched it and
ripe
my
old age
mind
of-
blown. This is amazing. Oh my gosh, best anime. I don't want to say
All right.
best anime, but
We're
it's really
moving
good.
along.
Hey, we're covering
Draw
all
step.
draw step. I drew this week.
I know, and see, I'm just so fed up with my ability to show cards here. I just want something that's simple, and I haven't been able to come up to it yet. So, Rich is drawing Greater Good. Costs 2 colorless and 2 green for a enchantment. Sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power, then discard 3 cards.
Do you want to pull up the card for?
No, he doesn't.
I could try.
Oh, okay. It's having problems. So yeah, I picked Greater Good, which is actually perfect for the name of this episode, Opportunity Cost. Sometimes you have to do things for the greater good, which we're gonna get to in a little bit. But I love this card. It's probably one of my favorite cards in EDH, in the fact that if somebody's gonna board wipe, sure, sacrifice your Sun Titan or whatever, your big guys, draw some cards and discard some cards. It's great with like reanimating effects and the fact that you can kind of get them in your bin. It gives you a discard outlet. It also is a sack outlet, which is pretty cool too, which could save your guys from like maybe a Path to Exile or even just for combos and stuff like that maybe or whatever. But the fact that it's an enchantment, so it kind of works all the time, is really sweet in the fact that you can just draw cards just whenever by sacrificing a creature. Even sacrificing a 3/3 beast, you're basically just effectively looting, 3 cards, getting 3 cards deeper in your deck. And if you're running any like Eldrazi or like any shuffling type effects, then you don't have to worry about milling yourself out because you just discard those or cast the Elixir of Mortality and shuffle back through. And I just like this card a lot. It's pretty sweet. So.
And what do you think about it, Damon?
I actually have always enjoyed sort of sacrificing creatures for value, especially when you can do it, if they're just going to die anyways, say in response to like a board wipe. I don't know, Rich, this is mostly like an EDH type of a card, isn't it? Like this doesn't
Greater good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly
It
EDH.
doesn't really see any play like in any kind of constructed
No,
fantasy
just
stuff.
mostly just EDH is about it. I also I just recently picked up the Judge promo of it, which is pretty awesome because
Nice.
the artwork's really cool. Not to say that the other artworks
Those
aren't.
abs, man.
I just the leeches on him is what the whole thing is, and it's cool because it has a Mary Shelley quote from Frankenstein. It has to examine the causes of life. We must first have recourse to death.
Nice.
Famous Mary Shelley quote from Frankenstein. So I don't know. And that's
Frankenstein.
one thing I missed about Magic is they actually used to do a lot of like biblical references or references to
Shakespeare, I know
to
they did a bunch.
Shakespeare, even like Tale of Two Cities type stuff. Like
Yeah.
lots of the classics they used to do quotes to, and they haven't done that in a very long time, and I kind of miss that. So
Gotcha.
Okay, so Damon, you're up here with Spell Pierce.
Yes, sir.
Let me see if I can, by chance, bring that up.
So Spell Pierce costs blue mana only for an instant that says counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2. So today for Fight Club, I played the Delver deck, and it's amazing how many important spells in Modern are the non-creature spells. And Modern seems to be very much about sort of curving out, and so people will pretty regularly tap out for a threat or leave up mana to try to remove a creature.
like your turn 2 Batter Skull or your turn 3 Batter Skull. I mean, you're probably going to be tapping out for it, right?
Right.
And one blue can take care of that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Against especially maybe like a Tron deck, trying to put together
Like
Karn
Karn
on
turn
turn 3 is like really scary. This is one of the very few spells that you can answer with that. I don't know. It's bad if your game plan is to go long, but Delver finishes the game quickly. And leaving up a single blue mana, people maybe suspect something is up, but sometimes you can really just catch people off guard with it as well. And it's tough because there's that spell, there's also Vapor Snag, and then there's also like Spell Pierce. And so the number of things that you could have with a single blue mana up, sometimes you can just make people more scared of things than they really have to be. And maybe you have nothing. Who knows?
You can just bluff it, right?
Yeah. So, anyways, I just for all of those reasons, I just again, I'm scared of a lot of the non-creature stuff in Modern.
I know today, like I played something, and you had the red blue, you had a Steam Vents open, and I was like, oh, you're probably gonna bolt my guy, so I'll cast this non-creature spell instead. And you're like, Spell Pierce. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ah!"
Yeah, and it was the thing that actually probably would have ended up killing me. Was the Honor of the Pure for
Honor
your
of the
guys? I
Pure,
think. Yeah.
yep.
So, anyways, I don't know. I'm a fan. I think it has I don't know, a good spot in a lot of decks, and man, that Delver plus Treasure Cruise does some work. I did not win today.
Well, you won one game,
but-
and it was closer than we thought it was.
Yeah,
going to be,
and I
so-
also got to do 3 Treasure Cruises in that last game, which was pretty cool too.
Just,
Or the
just
first game.
maddening.
Yeah.
Utter madness.
I just always had a full hand, and Rich just kept drawing lands, but he also had like 40 life the whole game, so I couldn't kill him. But I tried. I sure tried. Anyways.
All right. My card, Forked Bolt. 1 red for a sorcery. Forked Bolt deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 target creatures and or players. I love this card. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, for 1 mana, you get all this flexibility.
I mean,
you know.
it's a shock that you can divide, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really important creatures
The
that
cool
are 1
thing,
mana.
I mean, you can also look.
Or sorry, I have 1 toughness.
Right. There's also target creatures. So say that you had a 2/2, you could target your own creature. Say heroic. It's actually a heroic enabler in some ways too.
I did not think about that.
Backdoor heroic enabler.
Boom!
but shoot this guy.
I'm gonna shoot
Make
my own
him
guy.
bigger.
Grow him.
Shoot 2 of my guys.
Exactly.
Make them bigger.
So think about it, guys. This is very flexible.
Actually, if we were to play Standard tonight, there's this new blue-white heroic deck by Tom Ross that is just ripping it up. It seems really, really
it
good.
doesn't run
so-
Fork Bulk in it, so
It doesn't run Forked Bolt.
But it's coming back. I know it is. I know they're reprinting this sucker. They're gonna reprint.
Well,
the
hey,
heck
we're
out of
going
this
back to Zendikar. It
Right.
could be possible.
eventually,
sucker. Yeah.
hopefully.
Anyway, so yeah, that's my card. Blades is not here tonight, as you know, and I'm going to keep mentioning that. So, Blades, if you're out there somewhere, hi. Anyway,
Some way. What's that song from?
also
From
cool
Toy
flavor
Story.
text.
from not Toy Story.
Nope.
Play-Doh favorites. Everybody dies.
Fievel.
Spark Mage saying.
Fievel goes west.
Yeah, that's actually a really good flavor text on that too. Play no favorites. Everybody dies.
All men must die.
Yeah.
Did we already talk about how they did that billboard above a nursing home in California?
Oh no.
It was an advertisement for Game of Thrones, obviously, but
Oh no. Just
it was like
unfortunate
literally just right above a nursing home, and people were, like taking pictures of it, and it kind of blew up on the internet for a
That's so
second.
funny.
Kind of rude.
positioning. Oh man.
I've seen tons of like University of Utah. They had up on their main website. They had something that said "Winter's coming," and they showed like
wow.
some like snow and stuff. It was pretty funny.
That's
Well, I
pretty
don't
cool.
think it was snow. It was
Oh, by the
some
way, I got a
picture.
hat on today. It was first snowy day here in Utah
Yeah.
because winter it actually already came. It's here.
We got a skiff of snow.
That's
gotta-
that's
we
a standard Utah measurement for you. Skiff of snow.
Yeah, we got a skid mark of snow.
I've never heard that before.
You never heard
It's
skiff?
Not really. I mean, I've heard of a skiff, like a thing that you row out on. You know, it's like a
Boat.
very shallow
Oh,
boat.
it's totally a word, dude.
It's a measurement
Skiff.
as well.
Yeah, it's an actual measurement. It's in the metric system.
Oh.
Just kidding. It's probably why you haven't heard of it. Anyway, shall we move
I've got a
along?
micro skiff.
Yeah, it's a kilo skiff or no
Kilo skiff. I've got a terra skiff. What does that even mean?
How many Dessa skiffs does it take?
Anyway, moving along.
Main phase.
I always seem so delayed. I hit the button and
Ga-
then we wait like a second, and it's like, what's going on here? Anyway, it's just funny. I should-
Lord Margulies.
So today we're talking about opportunity costs. Now, this could be taken a lot of different ways. There's opportunity costs in Magic, but there's opportunity costs in life.
There is.
We want to talk about all of this. It's going to be a little bit more cerebral today, maybe a little bit more philosophical, but this is an important topic that I think can make your Magic game better.
I think so too.
So where do we start, Damon?
Or
So-
at least keep, people around in your life happy as well.
That's true. So the big thing with opportunity cost, I was sort of, I guess, introduced to the topic most clearly by Travis Wu. He's a divisive person, I think, when it comes to the Magic world. Like, some people are all sold out on him because they love brews, and people thinks that he just runs joke decks all the time. He generally keeps things like lighter and tries to keep things positive or whatever. But I think that, like, of the times that he's been serious, he wrote a really great article on opportunity cost not too long ago. And basically the idea is opportunity cost says that we are finite beings, and there are certain things that can, it's an either or an or, like you can't have. I can't be sitting here podcasting and hanging out with you guys. Hey, picture Travis Wu. There we go. But I can't be sitting here and podcasting with you guys right now, and also be like driving my car down the street. Like, I have to be in only one of two places, and it's the same thing in Magic. You can only draw one card off the top of your library, without a draw spell. So, when you put your deck together, like, you should make sure that each one of these things that you could draw are worth drawing. And so that's kind of the idea, is that there's opportunity costs with a lot of your decisions that come along with Magic. The first one, of course, is drawing a card. And I think a lot of people, get thrown off by when they're building their deck, especially when they're new to Magic. They're like, well, but the thing is, like, I have all these cards, maybe at a pre-release, and I have 43 really, really great cards.
It's the ornithopter argument.
Right. It is. And it's like, all these cards are really great. And for a long time, I played 41 cards in a lot of my decks. I'm like, I should just grow up, be a man, cut it down, and play 40 cards, and just make a choice. And because I want to draw the very best card possible each turn when I draw it. And, Travis Wu, like, in his article, like, he took it to the extreme. He says that he doesn't wear deodorant because it takes up time where he could be doing something different. And that he just chooses to shower every day instead and try to, like, be healthy. And so if you're healthy and you shower every day, then, a little bit of body smell is a normal thing. It's not necessarily a negative thing. And as long as your whole diet isn't like grease, then you probably don't smell awful.
Or onions.
Right. And, like, there are other, like, small things in his life that people sort of take as for granted. And if you cut those things out, like, it means you can do other stuff. Saying no to one thing and saying yes to
I
something
have a
else.
similar philosophy, but instead of cutting out deodorant, I decided to cut out tying shoes.
Oh.
So I figure people will be more happy with me if I wear deodorant, but don't wear shoes that I have to tie.
Einstein didn't wear socks.
Well, same thing, probably.
I don't think he also put milk in his cereal either. I think it was I don't know if
You said it
the
was-
one's true, but I know he didn't wear socks.
Great. Clayton in the chat room has
Heard about
vowed
that.
never to shower again. Thanks a lot, Damon. Anyway, yeah. But
Well,
yeah.
and that was one of the divisive things. Is like you can't be a Magic player telling stinky Magic players to
No,
not wear deodorant.
exactly. It's like,
and he caught a
please
lot of
take it
flack for
back.
that. But he's like, no, you guys are missing the whole thing where I say to live healthy. But, anyways, so I think that that's like a big topic, and it sounds small, right? But I think that it comes up a lot. Like for example, it comes up all the time. I think in combat, if you choose to attack with a guy,
It means you can't block with it
you're choosing not to block.
unless it's vigilance, and then you're lazy.
Then you get to choose both. Yeah. And that's why those abilities are good. When it allows you to make more than one choice at the same time, it's really positive.
Well, it's opportunity cost, right? Like you have a chance to play land tap this turn, like
Or
your shock
take
land
some
or
life.
whatever, or take some life, or scry the card, put it on, keep the land on top, and guarantee you're going to get a land drop next turn, or put the land on the bottom and hopefully get into some other spells or something, right?
Right.
And exactly like, so I got to ask, opportunity cost is exactly like, what is the dictionary reference to it? Like, what's the definition? Basically, you can only do one thing, you can't do both. Is that just the
I'm going to
whole?
find out.
Because I feel like this is something that a lot of people misinterpret,
here's-
misunderstand. Because
Here's
a lot of people
Wikipedia,
think,
so let's just call them.
oh, well, it's Wikipedia.
I
It's
know
not a
everybody dogs
reliable
on them.
source.
Everybody dogs on them, but let's face it, most of the time they're okay.
It's
And
true.
especially in microeconomics, the opportunity cost of a choice is the value of the best alternative foregone in a situation in which a choice needs to be made between several mutually exclusive alternatives given limited resources. So limited resources, not the podcast. Limited resources being the limit
The
of
finite
given,
material.
right? Given it's
whatever it may
basically
be.
saying you don't have everything. You only have a limited number of things.
Right.
Choice
And-
A or choice B.
Right.
Like if you have $10, right, and you don't have a credit card on you, you only have $10 bills. Like you can buy one Gigantosaurus sandwich, or you can buy a Mediumosaurus sandwich and a drink and fries, and that's all you can spend your $10 on. Or maybe you only buy a water and you don't pay for it, and then you have money to go and buy a booster pack later, and maybe you've
Or-
decided that a booster pack is more
Or
important to
like
you than
most
you
people just
So-
don't buy food and just buy the booze packs.
So let's talk about the ornithopter in relationship to this.
So
Why then is ornithopter a bad choice in relationship to opportunity cost?
going back to our draft conversation a couple of almost 3 months ago podcasts about how ornithopter's terrible in draft, don't draft it.
Right.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Or using it in a sealed pool.
Or using a
yeah,
sealed pool.
right.
So just to catch you guys back up on, basically we were talking about people just throwing ornithopter in decks that didn't need ornithopter. It's great if you have an insult artifact or shrapnel blast, but I mean
Is
if
it
you're
though?
not running those, well yeah, because if you're building an artifact
Are we
themed
okay.
sealed deck, then it seems like it's pretty good. But otherwise, it seems bad. But the point being is, a lot of people were putting them in because they're like, oh, it's a really cheap jump blocker, and it's like,
What
okay,
is
well,
what is your limited resource in a draft or a sealed pool?
What's your 40 cards? Or
40
maybe
cards.
more than 40 cards, but then you're drawing worse
Right.
cards.
right.
Right.
Is it better to usually the analogy I use is is it better to spend the 5 mana on this 3/3 guy, or is it better to spend 5 mana on a 4/4 guy? Obviously, spending 5 mana on the 4/4 guy is better. Is it better to draw a card that costs 0 and is a 0/2 flyer that's just going to die next turn, or is it better to draw a card that's actually going to kill something or be a big creature that can potentially block and actually trade with another creature or kill it?
Do something in the game,
Right.
not just prolong it. Because if you're losing on the board and you draw Ornithopter, that's great. You just bought yourself one turn rather than drawing a kill spell and maybe a creature that will stabilize you. A kill spell will also buy you a turn, but it will also change your board position, just like a creature would. So, Ornithopter's a creature, but only kind of, sort of, a creature.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason. I mean, we're not saying the Ornithopter is bad and don't play it. It's just
We're just saying
we're
that there's-
recalling an older argument.
Yeah, and we're just saying that there's reasons why there's probably in a draft situation there's probably a better choice in almost every case. And if there isn't, then you need to rethink your draft strategy.
Well, it's and I use this a lot on players ask me for advice on EDH, for example. They're always like, well, I could play this, or I could play this. Woolly Thoktar. Let's take Woolly Thoktar, for instance.
What does a Woolly Thoktar do?
It's 1 red, 1 white, 1 green for a 5/4
Spell
Woolly, WOOLLY space THOCTOR or AR Thoktar. It's just a guy from Shards of Lara. It's a 3 mana for a 5/4 beater. And a lot of people are like, yep, that's the guy right there. So a lot of people are like, this is a really, really, really good card, right? Opportunity cost is, in a deck where you're playing, primarily basics, it's not going to be that great. So why wouldn't it be playing like in a deck that's, say, EDH, for example? Like, I think Eternal Witness is a far better card than Woolly Thoktar for 3 mana. What would you rather spend? 3 mana on a Woolly Thoktar or 3 mana on, like, a Beast Within, or perhaps like an Eternal Witness or a Farhaven Elf that's going to help you next turn be able to cast a bigger spell than you would have normally? So that's kind of, for me, when I hear of opportunity costs, is I think of rather than like having this specific gameplay or thing, what's always going to be good and not just sometimes good, I guess.
Right. Again, this comes up a lot, I think, in building limited decks, but also if you're brewing your own decks, it comes up a lot. I also think it comes up too that I feel like I always get caught using my removal spell on the thing that wasn't actually going to kill me,
right,
in games of limited, and sometimes standard and modern or whatever. Also, that you probably only have so many removal spells versus a number of creatures. And so, is this a creature you can take a couple hits from, and maybe you land your own creature and you can trade with it or something, or is this the thing that's actually going to kill you? Because what if you don't draw another removal spell? Like, you have to usually save that for a time that's going to matter. Same thing with like counter spells, like. Can you let that thing resolve because you have something that's going to
kill it later or deal with it later?
Or make it so it doesn't matter.
Or like, do you double block now and make sure for sure that creature's off the board, you don't have to worry about it the rest of the game? Or do you let it hit you and possibly never get the chance to be able to let double block it again, or use a removal spell later?
Or do you keep a guy back to block knowing that maybe he's just going to get removed by them? Like,
or
if you had a chance to get in some damage, some free damage.
Okay, cool. If he has a removal spell, I die because I'm at 3 life and he has a 3/3 whatever that's going to kill me.
Right.
Or do I leave back 2 blockers and push a little bit more damage, but ensure that no matter what, even if they do top deck the Doomblade, I still
stay alive.
I can still stay alive, something like that. But I mean, so we're talking a lot about like Magic situations, I guess. But opportunity cost also doesn't necessarily just deal with. Am I going too fast?
No, not at all.
No, as I was just talking about, it's a microeconomics theory.
It is.
Yep.
So
like it's not just applicable to a Magic board state or your deck or whatever, right? You can also apply it to your everyday life. For instance, let's say it's your daughter's birthday. She's turning 6, and it's Friday, and you want to go to F&M. Like, your daughter's only going to have
wow,
one
man.
birthday.
You're like laying it on heavy.
She's never going to have another 6th birthday.
What if it's pre-release
Hold
though?
on. Okay, we're working up to that. What I'm saying is, like, hypothetically, like, let's say, she's turning 6. You have one opportunity a year for her birthday. Like,
and
you
only
can go
one,
do something for her birthday.
And only one time that she's ever turning 6.
Every one time she's ever turning
Right.
6, right? And if you're Jehovah's Witness, I'm sorry, we're talking about birthdays, but whatever. So like, you can either go and celebrate your daughter's 6th year birthday, or you can go play F&M. F&M is an every Friday event, right? And yeah, maybe you're trying to play test this deck, and maybe you're trying to do this or whatever, you know what I mean? But sometimes it's maybe better to just go hang out with your family. And I'm not saying like people don't do this, but this is an opportunity cost type thing, Let's say it's game day. Game day comes once every 3 months.
And you have the chance of actually getting a card out of it,
right.
or you get a card out of
you
that.
have a chance of getting a card or whatever.
And you can always celebrate your daughter's birthday the next day.
Or what if maybe instead your boss comes to you and says, hey, I've got some overtime shift for you, and we're willing to pay you, double our regular amount because we really need this work to be done or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you just work this one Saturday, I'll give you like $200 or whatever it is to work this one Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
The cost. There's a cost, right? Like, you can go play in the game day and have fun, hang out with your friends or whatever, playing the game, maybe getting a cool full art card, or you can go work and make that extra $200 and maybe take that money and pay bills or whatever, or maybe even go and buy the card you would have missed out on, and possibly even getting some more other cards that you might think are cool, or go take your you and your significant other out on a nice dinner, whatever.
So,
like, what I'm saying is, like, it comes down to like you're finite, right? Like, remember that there's also like tons of other
your time and where you exist in
right.
space. Like, you don't get to be Doctor Who, unfortunately.
Right.
We don't have the technology yet. Although hoverboards are coming. I just saw a Kickstarter about it.
For that.
Yeah.
I think
Anyways,
somebody posted that to us a couple weeks ago.
yeah, it's super, super cool. Anyways, Here's a real life one that I feel like would be just such like a gut wrenching thing. And it's funny because I talked to my grandpa about it now, and he says, "Oh, like it was just not even an option. There was not even a big choice to be made." But my grandfather put himself through all of his undergraduate college career with a boxing scholarship. He was a featherweight boxer. Now his junior year, I believe, or senior year.
And if you know anything about boxing, you're probably going, huh?
Yeah. Anyways, but so his junior senior year, he was invited to represent the United States at the Olympics as a featherweight boxer. The Olympics and the training camp that would precede it fell right in the due date for his first child's birth.
Oh, wow.
And so he didn't go to the Olympics. And it's like, wow, like I think about that, especially when I was like in high school and like I was being competitive. I don't look like it now, but I actually swam competitively. And so like I think anytime you do sports, like you think about like what if it went like, to the next level. Like if you're a basketball player, like, man, what if I played for the NBA? Like what would that be like, And some of the other sports, like, man, what it would be like to make it to the Olympics. And so I heard about that choice. I'm like, man, how would you make that choice? And he's like, it's just.
It wasn't even a choice.
It's
It wasn't
my
even-
kids. My
Yeah.
kids being born.
But is it
Was not
let me
even a
ask
choice.
you this question: do you think that people today would make that choice? Let's not generalize too much, but as an average person today, is that a harder choice today than it was then? Are people, in other words, maybe are people more self-centered, selfish? I don't
Maybe,
know. That's what
maybe.
I'm just wondering. Is that what?
But what doesn't change is that he could only be at the Olympics, or he could be there to watch his kid get born.
That is the bottom line.
Right.
Yeah. And
That he
made
only
that
gets to be
choice.
one of those two places.
Right. Yeah.
So, which I think is kind of fascinating, and I think that of all the things that I've ever learned from Magic, that opportunity cost in my own life has been the most important lesson. Because I feel like I grew up. Excuse me, geez, I have a little bit of a hiccup there. Anyways,
he's verklempt.
yeah, I'm breaking up over here, guys. Anyways, that I grew up in like a pretty good situation overall, and I think like a lot of parents want to like provide for the kids and make sure they have like a good time or whatever. And I feel bad now because I put my parents through probably like some pretty rough situations where I would always try to choose like not one thing or the other, but usually both. Like I would take. And it carried on through high school, like there's sometimes people who just like probably wouldn't get along together very well. And like I feel like I'm a little bit of a social buffer. Like or maybe just people, they like me, and so they'll bend over backwards to try to make me happy, and it's the same thing still. But I would get like, my one friend who's like kind of a like edgy, kind of like gothy sort of person, whose like interests are mainly music and stuff. It's like come hang out with me and like my jock friends, and like those two people would never ever have hung out together ever.
Right, but
But I'd
because
be like,
you are in the equation, they're like, sure,
I'm
I
like,
can hang out with.
But the thing
this
is,
guy.
jock friend is I kind of made plans. I sort of double book myself constantly, and so I would just take the situation that like hanging out with just one person would have been a good experience, and hanging out with just the other person would have been a good experience, and instead I made probably frequent awkward experiences for everybody else except for myself, because I'm selfish and kind of a jerk sometimes, and that it carried on through life as I became an adult and got married. Like right out of college I got this crazy job that I made too much money, and so I got used to just like not buying this thing or buying that thing, but buying both things. And then when I didn't have that job anymore, suddenly I was really poor and I couldn't understand it because I didn't know how to just say yes to one thing. I would always say yes to like doing all of the things.
Do you want a steak and dessert? You
Yes.
want to eat your cake and have it too?
Yeah, always. Because you know what? You could also just buy 2 cakes and you could eat the one cake now.
And have a cake.
And that is why I look like I do today. Anyways.
But you know what I mean? Like they always
Yeah.
refer to it as like eating
Having your cake
having
and
your
eating it
cake and
too.
eating it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's just like, and I think that in Magic, it's also affected me recently in that I've mentioned in the past that I kind of have mostly sold out of Standard. That, when it comes down to looking at, where I'm at financially and also with my time, that I didn't feel like I had enough time to follow the Standard metagame in a way that wasn't just podcasting about it, that to participate in a weekly basis, in FNM, to keep up with the shifting changes, because I am bad at doing things halfway, that I always want to go hard or go home.
Full bore.
And so I was able to use, some of the money to like get caught up on some bills. Cause again, I don't know how to say no to things, and then use like the last little bits of that money as I was selling stuff to like finish out my modern deck. And it's like these modern decks now, I just kind of have the red, blue, splashing white spectrum of like modern decks, and I can play
You
a
can play
couple different
modal
ones.
different decks.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and Rich, you've kind of gone that direction recently in Modern too, right?
yeah, like for me, it's been a little bit different. Just trying to like cut out my blue. Like I kept on to held on to a lot of blue cards and stuff like that because I always thought I'll eventually play blue.
Right, like you had like a bunch of cryptic commands for a while.
I had a bunch of cryptics, had a bunch of snapcasters. Like I just needed the Vendilion clicks, and I was ready to go and play almost anything blue. But then it got to the point where I was like, well, I need to buy fetches. Well, Vernic Catacombs, obviously, because I play black green. All right, cool. So maybe some not Arid Mesas, the black white Marshflats. Some Marshflats. Cool. There's no blue in any of these. Why am I keeping a hold of these snapcasters? Well, if I ever get into Tarmogoyf, I'll build bug. I'm not getting any Tarmogoyfs. Okay, cool. So I guess I could start trading the snapcasters and cryptics, and I eventually did. And the cost was like I've kind of burned that bridge of ever being able to play blue and modern, but at the same time, I've gotten to a point now where I have multiple different types of decks I can play within the junk colors, which was for me. I kick myself because I'm a freaking hoarder. But at the same time, though, like it seemed like a good trade. I mean, like having a lot of different types of deck to play, or be spread out so thin, like
that,
on a
all your
financial
decks are a little janky, right?
Right, or even they're a little bit off. They're not complete, or even to the point where I financially I'm so strung out with it that I have to buy one card for this deck this week, or one card for this deck this week, and I'm never ever going to actually complete a single deck. And so like that's one of the things I did is I basically said, nope, I'm not going to play blue anymore. And the moment I kept blue out, and mostly red for the most part too, now I've got I could build 3 or 4 different decks on just a snap of my finger. You know what I mean? Or even completing like my fun homebrew janky decks I want to build in modern. But speaking of like the opportunity costs and stuff like that, and also EDH is hard to say no to opportunity costs because I like my foils and that was the other thing too. Like I'm trying to like actually sell stuff now so I can keep foiling out my EDH deck, and I'm actually gonna have to cut like 2 or 3 of my EDH decks to be able to do that now and try to sell them off. But perfect, prime example right now of opportunity costs is actually the fact that we don't have Blades here today. And he was having he had a phone call and he had to go do some things and. He's not here today. I mean, like he could be here podcasting with us, or he could be going and doing what he needs to do and be the responsible individual that he is, and he's doing that. And instead of being here, which honestly, like all 3 of us are like, yeah, you need to go. You know what I mean? But that's one of those things, right? Like there's only so much that you can do.
So how do you learn how to make the right choices?
I don't know.
You lose lots of games of life and Magic.
Clayton even said though, like Clayton even brought it up in the chat. He said, like your grandpa turned down the Olympics for the Olympics are a once in a lifetime thing. You can see your kid every day,
right?
And I guess that comes down, and that boils down to you, like as a person, what you believe to be more important, I guess.
And I guess when you're building a deck or deciding a path in life, it's the same thing. You need to make those decisions and decide what is going to give you. First of all, recognize that there is that cost.
Right.
By recognizing that there is a cost, that's the first step. Assuming you can't.
Well, and I guess
understanding you can't have everything, and then decide, okay, since I understand there's a limit to my resources, what is my best decision?
I think that's the first step, actually, is understanding the finiteness of yourself and some elements of life.
Yeah.
But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I totally agree. That is the first step. I mean, there's no question. If you don't comprehend that, if you don't internalize that, you can't really move forward. After that, then you have to start dissecting it and try to make the best decision you can.
All right. And sometimes you spread yourself too thin.
Yeah.
And sometimes like you're not able to do the things you want to do to the best of your ability, and therefore you're lacking.
Isn't that the purpose? We're talking about building a deck.
Right.
If you
have way too many different things going on, your deck has no synergy. I mean, how are you going to be able to win the game if every card you draw you have no idea what you're playing?
You just have a bunch of cards that you happen to like, but they don't work together.
Right. Like flipping. Like I like Emrakul. Do you know what else I like? I like drawing cards and stuff. Yeah. I like Dark Confidants.
So
they should totally go together in the same deck.
Right.
Because
until you fork Emrakul. Right?
Yeah, I only have like a 1.6% chance of drawing it or whatever. Yeah, like no, it's that comes out of the opportunity costs. But I know for me, like here in Utah, like our trading here in Utah is weird, and I don't know if that's just a Utah thing or if that's an international or national thing. But people here have this really bad habit of being like, I have my one Liliana of the Veil. If I ever get into Modern, I'll play this Liliana of the Veil. But I also have this Geisted Saint draft. So if I ever want to play Modern, I have my one of Geisted Saint draft. I also have this one of Tarmogoyf. If I ever want to play Modern, I have my one of Tarmogoyf. I also have my one of Goblin Guide. If I ever get into Modern, I'll play my Goblin Guide.
So they have one of everything.
And so they have a one or two of like a bunch of different stuff, but they never have anything. And so you try trading with them. You're like, hey man, like I'm totally interested in blah. You're whatever. Let's say X. I'm interested in this card. No man, it's my only one. If I ever get into Modern, I'm going to be playing it. Okay, well what about this? I'm interested in this. Nope. If I ever get into Modern, I'm going to be playing it. All right, cool. So you want these 7 things from me for the Modern deck you're building. But this card that you have over here,
but you're also in Modern.
Not,
you don't have goblins and junk
you're building,
and all this other
you're
stuff.
You're building Mono Redburn. You need Goblin Guides. I have 3 Goblin Guides. I would like your Lily. Nope, my Lily's not for trade. Well, how come? Well, if I ever play black, then I need it. Okay, cool. What about your Snapcaster Mage? Well, if I ever play blue,
so
I'll need that.
as it is, they're not playing anything.
Right. So at that point,
no,
like they're not
deck.
taking the opportunity cost of, hey, you can finish and complete your deck.
In other words, they're passing up
which is the same thing I was just talking about that I was doing to myself, and so that's what I'm saying. Like
in the end, it's costing them something.
Right.
What's it costing them?
Right. It's
the ability to have a good Modern deck,
or play the thing they want to play. Maybe they're not building a good Modern deck. Maybe they're building an EDH, and they really, really need Winter Orb or something. I don't know, whatever. And somebody hasn't willing to trade them to it, but they don't want to trade because they're like, oh, I might need this card someday. I mean, sometimes. Is it worth, if it's a $5 card, sometimes it's worth just trading because they're both $5 straight across and save yourself the $5 later that you could eventually spend on something else.
So
right?
Step 1, understand things are finite. Step 2, know what you want.
Yeah.
Know what you want. Decide what you need or want.
Right. Have a goal. Like I actually have gotten to the point now where I think I even have the piece of paper in my somewhere. And I write down all of the cards I'm looking for because when it comes to trade binders, I'm like squirrel, because I'll find random weird commons that are foiled that I think are just sweet looking and I want them. And I realize I'm like, oh man, I've got $5 of trade value in just common foils. This isn't what I was looking for. Why am I doing this? And so I'll actually write out goals, even just on a trading basis of like, I'm working on this deck. I'm trying to build green-white hate bears. So I need 4 Thalias. I need, Gaddock Tea. I need this. I need whatever. I need 3 more Aether Vials. You know what I mean? I'll write these cards down so I can remind myself and I'll stick it in my trade binder. So I'm like, hey, it also helps too because you're like, do you have any of these? And you can hand it to somebody. But helps me keep a goal in mind so I know not to get sidetracked in the fact that I'm like, oh, you have this one card that I need for this EDH deck that's blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, wait, you know what? It's a $20 card and that deck's far from being completed. It's not worth my time or my cost to be able to get that. So I'll try trading for one of the Thalias of something I really, really do want to get into, And so just maybe even like setting a goal for yourself or like where you want to be, in F&M if you play Standard, you know what I mean? Or whatever, like F&M's now open to just about everything, which is pretty sweet. But let's say you F&M, you know what I mean? Your goal is I want to take first place in F&M and I want to be, top 4 consistently. But I also really, really, really want to be good at EDH. But I only want to spend $20 a month on it.
Right.
So at that point, right, opportunity cost, you got to decide whether you spend money and invest in your EDH deck or your standard deck.
And if you don't make the decision, guess what? You're probably not going to have either.
You're probably not going to either. You're probably going to spend $10 on EDH and $10 on standard, and then you're going to be split between. And granted, I think EDH is a better investment than standard would be. But at the same time, though, if your goal, whole goal is I want to be top 4 in standard at my local F&M, you know what I mean? Then maybe spending the money on the EDH deck isn't something you should be looking at. You should just try to devote a little bit more to your standard. And so I would just set goals personally. I think that would help out a lot with keeping that clairvoyance. Just knowing
clarity.
What's clairvoyance?
Clairvoyance when you can see the future.
Keeping that clairvoyance.
Keeping the future sight in mind.
I thought clairvoyance was just like another, like a little more in depth of clarity.
Definitely not. Well, it is definitely in depth clarity.
Yeah, I guess it's ultimate clarity.
Okay, but even then, so whatever. Keeping that clarity of just knowing where you want to go and stuff like that, and reminding yourself that when you're trading or when you're playing or when you're purchasing product can help you so that you don't stumble along the way and you're able to keep your finite materials or your finite energy intact, so you're able to keep kind of progressing and trucking on. So I don't like.
Yeah,
I went on a little too long with that.
No,
I
no.
apologize,
I think that's kind of the goal. Is that today was going to be a little more conversational, and
We just wanted to kind of get this idea of opportunity cost out there in all of its iterations, because it applies to building a deck, it applies to playing the deck, it applies to life in all of its aspects, it applies to your goals.
you know when this is actually really crappy is when opportunity cost kind of comes in the form of people. That it's unless you don't have a job, you can't be best friends with like 15 or 20 people at the same time, right? That sometimes you have to decide that it's okay to be sort of just casual associations with some people and be really, really great friends with other people, and decide what kind of people you want to be to have close to you. And that's really crappy. And also, like, same thing with like dating. Like you'll see those guys that are 50-year-old, bachelor pad, like, just still playing the field until like they find the right one, and it's like the field is shrinking. Like that's a finite pool, and like that can be that is also making a different kind of a choice. And so I don't know, man. Like it's interesting.
I don't know. So like for those of you like I don't know, like let's take like smokers for instance. Around and hanging around like people who smoke all the time. Maybe those are people you might want to spend your breaks with at work with, right? Because you're trying to quit or something. Let's say, for instance, so like you can either go out and put yourself in that situation, or you know what I mean, where you potentially could have like the temptation of smoking or the will or drive to want to smoke again, or you can not and potentially survive one more day of not smoking, right? Like there's an opportunity cost there, right? And that's a little bit different. I mean, that's a little bit more deep.
Yeah.
Still applies.
And even like and that's kind of sad that that's kind of almost a way of looking at it, I guess. But I mean, there's costs there too.
Yeah, and I think that it's funny because you talk about opportunity costs and building good cards or good decks in especially limited. I feel like it comes up so often, and that you look at this card pool and you go, God, this is such a complicated issue. What card do I pick? And then like you look at opportunity costs in your real life and you're like, holy crap. Like opportunity cost in Magic is simple comparatively, that
you play the 2-drop or you play the 3-drop is one or the other.
Opportunity cost in Magic though is like training wheels. I felt like in my own life that the opportunity cost that exists in Magic was training wheels to grow at being able to make better choices, in my own life, to make bolder choices. Like sometimes you promise yourself, like when you keep a hand, there's also costs associated with that versus mulliganing, and the cost is one whole card. And maybe you've decided to yourself, like, I'm never going to keep 1-land hands and I'm never going to keep 6-land hands ever anymore. And even if it looks sweet and even if it looks good, like, you have a goal of trying to be a better Magic player. And even if you pull off that 1-land hand and you get rewarded that one time, like, maybe 8 times out of 10, that hand's not going to really pan out. And maybe you just got lucky that once because luck is a factor. And so if your goal is to actually be a better Magic player, like, having the discipline to make some of these hard choices. So, I don't know, man. Like it's a phase that we're I think constantly in the middle of trying to evaluate where you're at in life and where you're at with your decks and your hobbies and your relationships and work and all kinds of other stuff. In fact, I just recently had to stop working at the card store, because I was like at the card shop very part-time and then also doing my nursing gig. And then I got another nursing gig and I was going to do the other nursing gig and the card shop all part-time. And then I just wasn't around for a long time at the card shop. I'm like, I should probably like formally quit because I also want to sometimes like see my wife and have time for some of my hobbies and things like that. And it turns out that I'm just wasn't the kind of person willing to work 3 jobs consistently and only have like 0 to 1 days off per week. So anyways, I don't know. There's just like we could probably go deep on this for forever.
Yep. I think though this gives us all a little something to think about though.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's a different kind of episode for us, I feel
There's
like.
a lot of different opportunity costs out there, and I don't know.
Yep.
To do or not to do.
That
there
is
is no try.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know, James. I feel like you've had probably more different opportunities just because you have more experience in life.
When you listen to all the things, I've told you all the things I've done some of the things I've done in my life as far as things I've tried, jobs I've had.
Uh-huh.
And you're probably always amazed when I say, oh yeah, I've done that. Oh yeah, I've done that. That's just
He's very eclectic.
That's something I do. I'm sort of a jack of all trades in some ways,
Yeah.
But that makes, the saying, jack of all trades, master of none, and it really comes down to it. I mean, yeah, I can do a lot of this tech stuff around for you guys, but am I an expert Magic player? No, I'm not. So, I mean, and are there people that could be doing better job of this tech? Probably.
Well, and that's this. Okay, so this is going in a little deep on something else that, like, I don't know, maybe not podcast land appropriate, I guess, or something like that. But I constantly compare us here at MTGU to like other podcasts out there. You know what I mean? I'm always like, what are they doing that we aren't doing? What are they doing that makes them better or different than us? You know, and stuff like that. And we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but and it kind of boils down to time, right? Time is kind of linear. There's only so much of it, and
has
it's
the same
always
amount.
constantly. Yeah, it's always going to be constantly going in a certain direction. It's always moving forward, and you only have so much of it, and everybody has the exact same amount. And what you do with that time is very, very important. And so I know for me, there's a lot of times where I'm like, man, so-and-so's podcast is so much better than ours, or so-and-so's
But that's not
this or that or whatever,
Right.
you know what I mean? And I me personally, it drives me nuts because, like, me being the competitive hyper, spike type person,
Yeah.
I want to be the best that we can be, it drives
Like
me nuts a
no
little bit.
one ever was. Bow, bow, bow. The podcast is my real test.
No, I don't know what that's from, but okay.
Pokemon? No?
Oh, the best there ever was. Okay, now I got you. You just a little different. Yeah. Okay,
That
I got
was
you
funny.
now.
I will
Thanks,
record
Ash
across the
Ketchum.
land.
Yes.
That was really funny. That was really good.
Actually, weirdest party I've been to. My friend Stormy's house. They were doing karaoke.
Uh-huh.
And they're Vietnamese, so I mean, it was like, okay, karaoke, fair enough. And then Pokemon comes on. I'm like, what the freaking heck? Okay, fair enough. And everybody's singing but me and Ian. And we're just like, man, we're at the wrong kind of party. Anyway, that's what that reminded me of. But, and so, like, that's the thing, though, I realize a lot, and I have to just tell myself is that, we even have, like, a finite amount of time to do this stuff, and I constantly mess up on the podcast about this, that, or the other, and I always have to just, with some of the facts that we say are sometimes a little off or whatever, and to be honest, we all work full time, and it's an opportunity cost to take some of that time away to be able to do this, and it's not, I don't know, it's something that for me, like, I feel like it seemed really easy at first, and now doing it, for a little over a year now, it's actually kind of a lot.
It's a lot.
It's taken
It's
definitely.
It's a lot of responsibility in some ways
Yeah.
because you keep up with your fans, as far as, people that, just are peeps. I don't want to
Yeah.
call them fans. That seems sort of weird.
Right.
But you feel a sense of
Responsibility, like, to be there, right?
right.
That, yeah, I don't know. And when somebody says, like, hey, man, like, it like makes my week better or whatever to, like, listen to you guys, or
It keeps the
it's cool
drive
to, like,
going.
hang out with you guys and hear what you guys have to say, and I feel like I'm in the same spot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just all of that. Like, I think everybody wants to try to, I don't know, feel like they're in some way making a difference or helping out somehow.
Right.
And being a part of this really, really cool community, And so anyways, yeah, it's I don't know. There's
Something else
the
I was gonna
depth.
add to that.
Yeah.
But
If you guys, what? Go ahead.
I can't remember it, but like just yeah, like well, with like time is what you do with your time is important. So I guess I don't know, whatever.
If you guys have any thoughts on this, send us an email, drop us a comment. Let us know what you think of opportunity cost. See if it's made a difference to you, this little discussion we've had, and if it's changed the way you've thought, or if you've already had this thought before, or if you don't care, let us know that too. We'd like to know.
Yeah, and also I like this is a very different sort of a topic from what we normally do. We're pretty frequently nuts and boltsy in our Magic approach. And so to have something that's a little more conversational, I don't know.
Yeah, and going back to James's jack of all trades, master of none. It's kind of like Bruce Lee always said, don't fear the man who's practiced 1,000 kicks. Worry about the man who's practiced, a kick 1,000 times.
Right.
Right.
So I mean, if you're gonna be good at something, it only takes practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and sometimes that's kind of depressing to me because I think, okay, why can't I just
Well,
stick to one
it's
thing?
good to be well-rounded, though.
It is. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, there's
Well, and there's
arguments to
right.
both.
Yeah,
sides.
yep.
But it
Right.
goes back to the same conversation.
It does.
So I think we've
We've smashed
partially
this one.
partially beat a horse to death.
Yeah.
So let's move along.
What is the
Combat phase.
What is the cost of beating a horse to death?
I don't know. Buying
I don't know
the
how much
horse.
does the course cost.
Did you have to buy the horse? Is it somebody else's? Are you gonna get caught? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just gonna drop because I was gonna bring up the cat thing with my roommate. And man, dude,
Oh, that's a totally different thing. Okay, so combat phase. Do you guys play this week?
Actually, I pulled the cards together to build Delver. It's kind of funny. Just not too long ago, I put the Team Geist deck and got all the way 100% finished. It felt really great to finish something, and then Treasure Cruise happened, and I'm like, oh, I need a couple Treasure Cruises, and I bought a friend a meal of pizza and a coffee in exchange for a play set of Monastery Swift Spears. So that felt like a pretty good trade. And it didn't take very many cards to get all the way into the Delver deck that I played tonight. And so I have that completed. And if I get a couple Blood Moons, then I'll have everything done for, what is it called? Splinter Twin. So I'll have Splinter Twin all the way down here pretty soon, too.
That's an interesting take. The fact that, you know what I mean, you bought this guy lunch to get some Monastery Swift Spears, and the lunch was still probably cheaper than the Monastery Swift Spears.
Yeah,
like,
uncommon
perspective.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, anyways, I don't know. I got a chance to play against our buddy Ian, who you've heard us talk about a couple of times, because he has a couple old, sort of like brewed up, slightly janky, modern decks that are kind of aggressive, and like we played a whole bunch of games with Delver, and man, if I got to cast Treasure Cruise once, like the game pretty much just felt like it was over really fast.
Or
so
cast it 3 times by turn 5,
and sometimes you cast it 3 times. So.
Anyways,
I don't know, man. Just it feels like the best deck in Standard or in Modern. Like if somebody were to ask me like what's the best deck in Modern right now, just the kinds
black
of
green
draws.
mid range did fine against it.
Well, the problem with black green mid range, Rich, is that it kind of does fine against everything, but you have to earn every one of your wins, and sometimes Delver just naturally flips on turn 2, and you win for free.
Opportunity cost. I don't know that.
Sometimes I like to just be able to go, I'm winning, spell snare.
I won.
I'm winning, spell pierce, hit you,
Yeah.
bolt you, win. Like, I don't know. It feels really good. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Rich? You played.
I played some Modern. We ground out some black green mid range versus Delver, and I'm feeling pretty good about black green mid range against it. Although my sideboard's way wonky because it's all anti-affinity right now. There's like 3 creeping corrosions in the sideboard because why not?
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so there's some stuff I need to switch out. But other than that, I also played some EDH. Got some EDH games in. Playing a little bit more of that, which I'm pretty stoked about.
Have you played against any of these new decks?
Yeah, I did play against the mono green one.
How did you feel about that?
Because it's elf ball. I mean, it basically just plays elves and makes makes tons of mana and does nothing with them forever until they can top deck into one of their big creatures and then casts a big creature. It's okay. It's just mono green without a whole lot of like broken degenerate things to do. Mm-hmm. Played against the mono not blue one. There's another mono one I did against. I think it was white. I played against the white deck, and it was kind of meh. It was a lot of tokens. Like, that was the thing, too. Like, last week we talked about the cat theme forever, and we ground that into the dirt. And it was actually, and looking at it again, it was actually way more token-themed than cat-themed.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
like, way more cat-themed, or token-themed. But, I mean, there was a sub-theme of cats a little bit with the Kemba and other stuff. But, yeah, it was mostly just token-themed. So, but other than that, just some EDH, jammed some games with my Carador, and that's about it. All I've done, really. Mm-hmm. So,
played a little bit of Duels of Planeswalkers. I just haven't played that much lately. I just really need to play. Although, like I said, I did pick up some of the EDH decks, so maybe I'll be able to, play some of those with Junior and
they're fun.
See what we can do.
They're a lot of fun.
I just had this pop into my mind. I did hear a news item this morning, non-Magic related, but definitely nerd culture related. You know the lady that played Wolowitz's mother, the voice. She died.
Did she?
Cancer, 62 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She they haven't had her be the voice of Howard's mother in a while. I think, because of her health problems.
Yeah, but anyway, I just thought that was sad. But I always really enjoyed her part, and Big Bang Theory.
Howard!
Howard!
I know that was a terrible voice, but
Yeah, that was just.
I think they actually just have the gal that plays Bernadette's been doing the voice. I don't know though.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's too funny though.
Yeah. Anyway, just that.
So, Rich, somebody in the chat was asking. They said that you'd mentioned you were looking to do more on the tournament side.
Oh yeah, so like there's a guy. His name's Zach. He plays at a local store close to
Zach
my
and I?
house.
Or different
no,
Zach? Okay.
different Zach. Zach you've not met.
Gotcha.
We
Zach I don't
we actually call him Prozac, which
Prozac,
sounds really weird.
love it.
But the reason being is because at GP Salt Lake 3 years ago, he got a pro point.
Oh, nice.
So like he's
Good for him.
I love
we
that.
call him Prozac, but anyway. So
And he comes to the store with Paxil.
no,
No, just kidding.
Oh,
his friend Pat Paxil.
Patzil.
oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Last name's Zoloft. No,
Yeah.
no. When it's funny play on words.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah, he's actually a really cool kid. I say kid, he's my age, but he's a really cool guy. I used to play with him back in the Epic days when I used to play down there and stuff like that. And we were on the weird thing is at that time. Sorry, I'm going to delve a little bit. Is that cool?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back at that time frame, actually,
Are you really going to
I
delve?
Are you gonna
though?
delve into some
I'm going to
secrets?
delve. I'm going to
Yeah.
exile some stuff from my graveyard. You guys, are you ready?
Yeah, got it.
Clear some skeletons out of my closet. No. Back in that time frame, I got really, really heavily into Magic. And
Afterwards,
to the
would it be
point
considered a dredge
where-
skeleton?
No, I didn't do any dredging. Quit being a grave troll. So the thing was, like, at that time frame, I was playing probably 4 to 5 tournaments a week.
Wow.
And I know that's a lot. Like, and some of them were 2 a day. I mean, like, because at the time I was driving forklift and I was making good money and I had the weekends off, whatever, right? And I had nights off because I got off at 5, so it was go jump around Salt Lake City and just go to as many tournaments as I could. And it seemed like every night somebody had some sort of big tournament going on, and I basically traded like a social life kind of a little bit away, which I still had a social life because I was hanging out with my friends and stuff, but I mean just different kind of social life, if you know what I'm saying, to go play Magic competitively for a while there. And in hindsight, I don't really miss it because it got to the point where it was almost like it reminded me way too much of sports and trying to go to practice. But anyway, like he was on the team with me at the Epic team for this Grand Prix, and we were just kind of talking about the old days of like actually like having a playtest group and having gauntlets and kind of stuff. And we were actually going to talk about that today with Blades, but we're going to probably do that next week or something.
Yeah.
About being a leader in a play group. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do now is actually try to get like a play group together and not play nearly as hyper as much, you know, as we did back then, but kind of get a group ready to
Like
go.
pick and
to,
choose
like,
a really good tournaments to try to hit up.
yeah, and try to like hit up some of the more local tournaments because I've hit the point in my I could say Magic career where like I'm kind of realizing like I love this game, but man, the reason why I love it is because of the competitiveness and actually going and playing in the big tournaments and testing my mettle against other people. I enjoy that aspect of it, and so if I need to continue this hobby or this card game, I need to either step up my game or I need to really just push back from the table and be more of just a casual EDH player.
Or possibly just flip the table.
Or just flip the table and just be done with it because I've hit the point where it's one or the other. Either I need to start devoting, like, which sounds weird because I already do a podcast and I work at a card shop, but I need to.
But now you need to start taking things seriously,
I need to start
Rich.
taking things like either seriously and start actually like trying to go to these big tournaments and
Right.
stuff like that and try to see what I can do, or I need to step away and start just minimizing my losses basically and reduce my opportunity costs and
Right.
and enjoy, you know, I mean, just other
Basically,
aspects of my life a little
setting
bit
the
more.
goal for where you want to head, rather than trying to spread it out. Do a little bit of everything. You're
Right.
saying, okay, this
Right,
is
either step up or step off kind of thing. And so me and him are going to probably start trying to get some people to go to Grand Prix and stuff like that and try to step up the game because, you know, we're really competitive people and we enjoy that aspect of the game. But I mean, he's a cube player too. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he likes the casual stuff. I like the casual stuff. He plays EDH, you know.
I
But
play Cube pretty
we're-
seriously though.
But yeah, you know, but that's what I'm saying. Though, like, you know,
Right.
we're casual players, but that's the problem is like super competitive people playing casual environment. Like, there's no middle ground, right?
Right.
And so, because I am not a middle ground person. I hate going to FNMs and just playing FNM and play FNM. Like, I'd rather go play at a Pro Tour qualifier.
Right.
You know, FNM to me it's fun. I'd rather go and, you know, mess around and have fun with the people there than to actually play the game of Magic. So and that's just the difference, I guess. So I just need to step up my game or, step back and be a little bit more casual. So anyway, sorry.
That's
Dredge,
all right.
I have no
think...
graveyard left.
Okay.
Can I draw 3 cards now?
You've exiled it all, so no, that wasn't a pleasure cruise for any of us. This game.
What did you say? I looked away.
I said that wasn't a pleasure cruise for any of us.
Pleasure cruise.
Get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, I got it.
Do you get it?
Yeah,
Get it?
I
Huh?
got
Did
it.
you? Huh? Yeah, it was a Magic-related joke.
We got it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move along.
Second main phase.
Okay, so I looked on our iTunes reviews, and I don't have any new iTunes reviews, so I can't do anything. I can't read any of those. I've gotten a few requests for to send out some life pads, so I'm going to be doing
I responded
that.
to somebody on Twitter this week,
And so I have a bunch of those I need to send out.
Yeah, so we've had actually a lot of questions this week. People are like, "Oh, life pads, those are a thing. I would like some. If you want some, just saying this once, and then James is going to repeat it like 5 times over the course of like the end step. Send us your address to the Magic the Gathering podcast or MTGYou Podcast at gmail.com.
And this is why I have to repeat it 5 times.
MTGYou Podcast at gmail.com, I think, right?
Rich is gonna do this incorrectly.
Send it to
and then we're gonna
Wizards
send it over to
at
James,
Gmail.
and he's gonna take care of it.
Sometimes I have the question if I'll send these to Canadian listeners, and I'm saying right now, yeah, I'll send it.
Yeah. And,
I had someone ask me if I'd send it to Brazil, and I was like,
we said we'd research
maybe.
it.
So I know I have listeners all over the world. We have so many.
Man, if somebody wants us to ship it across the pond, I think at least for the first person.
I think at least the first person from England or anywhere in Europe, the first person.
Yeah, we have a
that
bunch of
sends
people
me-
up like in the
send
the Nordic.
me a request. Maybe, you could always send me. It's not going to cost you anything to send me your address. It's
That's
not like
true.
I'm not doing anything with the addresses. I promise.
Worst case, you could send them a PDF that has the.
No, that's
No.
cheesy.
That's
Print their own.
Make 'em print
I
them
know.
out.
I'm kidding. Calm
No,
your
you're
hormones.
Anyway,
Why you guys got quiet?
Send an email to the podcast thingy at
Isn't it
magic.com.
MTGYou Podcast at gmail.com?
Yes.
It sure is.
I always
It
say
is.
Magic the Gathering Podcast
and,
for some reason.
and I feel bad because I have yet to update the poll of the week.
Okay.
But I want a good poll. Come on, guys, send me some ideas for some
How
polls.
about of the 5 new commanders? Which one is
Sure.
the most fearsome?
Yeah, what's your favorite of the new 5 commander? What?
You seem disappointed
You
by
don't
that.
like that.
Rich.
Oh, I think he's had I think he just had I think he just had a mini
I'm trying to think of the poll. We could do like,
fit.
would you rather? So Lurgan
Truth
said
or dare?
Lurgan said that he would rather judge a GP than play in a GP, and that's the cool thing. There's so many different ways to enjoy this card game. Sorry, there's judge personalities out there too. I am not one of them, but there are them out there. They're like unicorns. They're hard to find. But would you rather be a judge? Would you rather play FNM? Would you rather play Pro Tour? Would you rather hang out with your friends at home and play?
Let's do it around the
tabletop?
opportunity cost.
Yeah.
What is your
Pick your
format?
poison.
What format would you be playing?
your
if you
poison.
I don't
could?
know if it's just format.
What way would you enjoy Magic
We-
if you could?
Maybe
No,
something
we've done
like
a
that.
couple different
We've
like
done
that,
it like that,
though.
but I like
Okay.
the
What would you rather?
Would you rather?
The last poll was supposed to be what Magic
Robert
card would you
Downey
want to eat?
Jr. or Jessica Alba?
Desert Island. You're going to Desert Island, and you could
If you could bring one
and you
Magic
could-
card, what would you bring?
No,
High
it'd have to be a
Tide?
couple
No, I'm just
decks.
kidding. No. Anybody chat. Do you guys
I
have
know
one?
somebody. They tried. They said we should eat a Magic
Yeah,
card.
what Magic card would you eat? Because there's chicken is.
okay. Yeah. Oh,
Chicken
that's
a la
right.
King.
Oh, we did
Chicken
have that
and
one.
egg.
I got to write this down so I remember because I keep
Okay.
forgetting. So I'm going to have a fill in the blank.
What
it was
aspect of Magic do you wish to pursue? Judge, Pro, FNM,
Ooh, store.
Tabletop Champion.
let's see. Should we do the what animal would you hunt? Remember that was the one we were going to do, or would you rather do this one? What aspect of Magic do you wish
If I
to
say
pursue?
Apprentice Wizard, does that work? Fugitive Wizard. I'd
Yeah.
hunt Fugitive Wizards.
We can do both. Okay, eat a magic card. And I'm going to do both of these. But maybe not, not in the same week,
I
obviously.
mean, we're almost to Thanksgiving,
card.
which is
Well, that seems like a good time to do the eating one.
Oh,
in
instead of a turkey,
United
which magic
States,
card
yes.
would you have on your
Yeah,
table?
that was the one we were supposed to do. That is the one we
Okay.
were supposed to do.
What magic card is going to be in the center of your table?
Yeah, what
Like the woolly.
Well, I
the
mean,
woolly
what
thoctor?
animal?
what,
Yeah.
woolly
Like,
thoctar, gelatinous ooze.
yeah, exactly.
Or a woolly thoctor. I would choose the mitotic ooze because you could eat it and then
And
you'd have
you
more
eat-
leftovers.
Of course
Will
you
be
would.
on your.
Gosh,
Uh,
I would eat.
I'm going to leave places for blank so you can fill in the blank. I'm going to put a number of them up there, maybe 5 different choices, and then we'll let you fill in the blank. Because someone said like hot soup, and I think that's a funny choice.
Yeah,
Soup. Yeah. Okay. Let me look at the document here and see if there's anything else. Don't forget, I need iTunes reviews before the end of the year, guys.
Right.
We're not done yet. We still have this contest going, and I don't want to think that we have run out of people that will give us 5-star reviews. So, yeah, get on there, give us one.
and no new emails, right?
My vote's dingus egg. That's what I
No
do.
new emails. Correct?
No new emails. I mean,
Okay.
I did get one just from Wumpus that I just barely got it, so it's not like I have even
Okay.
had a chance
To
to
read through
read it.
He just says, James, you
Um,
suck. Just kidding.
I also have another one from Tim from Arkansas, which I haven't had a chance yet to read because it looks like I got it yesterday, and I apologize I haven't
Okay,
got to it yet.
gotcha.
So there's a couple in the can.
We have gotten, I feel like, a lot of interaction on Twitter this week, though. So thanks for that. That was cool.
We appreciate you guys, and
Helps when we
you
actually
know,
send stuff out.
we do this because we enjoy the association we have with you guys. So just keep that in mind. Let's move along to.
Is it the end step?
End step.
You guessed it. If you want to contact us, you can send email to mtgyoupodcast@gmail.com. Interact with us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/mtgu. Follow us on Twitter @TheMTGU. Catch us live on Thursday nights on twitch.tv/mtgu. Subscribe and like us on YouTube. Find us at youtube.com/TheMTGU. We're also on Stitcher. So for the MTGYou Podcast,
I'm Damon.
I'm Rich.
I'm James. Too bad Blade's not here. And we pass the turn to you.
Doom, doom, doom.
That's the part right there.
Anyway, thanks guys for being here with us. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for spending your Thursday. Thanks for taking the opportunity, spending the time, choosing to spend the time with us.
I'm tired.
You know, yeah.
So actually, like, another thing I'm kind of thinking about doing is starting to do the Moto thing.
Yeah, Moto's is looking more and more. I just like drafting a lot. I like drafting a lot.
I just want to stream
I've
it.
signed on to Moto a couple of times. Haven't done it yet, but I've signed on. Check it out.
I just don't want to spend money on it.
I look at my collection. I get on there and look at my collection and sign off.
Yeah, so I opened the starter pack thingy. Like I signed up the $15 Billy or whatever. But
Oh, good.
like,
So I need to know your name and stuff, and then we can be friends.
Okay, cool.
Because then we maybe could play too.
I think I was decided to be Damunculus. I think I was open.
Oh, cool.
Like,
So
that's one of those things. Like, I almost wish like you could just like group up and have like 3 people on one account.
Thanks, Lurgan. He said,
Right.
I really, really, really enjoyed this episode.
Thanks.
And I'm glad you liked it. It was a little different, but, you know, it's something that is important. It's an important topic.
yeah, it's one actually. Like I don't know. I said it earlier tonight. It really is. I feel like the most important lesson that I've learned.
Yep.
From Magic. Like I mean, critical thinking is great, but I feel like I really needed like training wheels for opportunity cost, and this is definitely that. So.
Yep. All right. Well, that's about it. I think we're going to sign off. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with
Good
us.
night. And, you know, like I said, everything,
Don't
Just-
worry.
be happy. Eh?
Be happy.
All right.
Don't worry, be happy now. Ooh.
Too
You
far.
we know that everybody doesn't show up for our singing.
Too far.
We know
Too
this.
far. Okay.
Actually, did you recognize where my quote was from?
No, I had no idea.
It's from
was hoping you would
Red
say.
Jumpsuit Apparatus.
Oh yeah,
Their Grim
I wouldn't
Goodbye
have known that.
song.
Oh
So
wow, that was
good.
so depressing.
No, the whole song.
That was
The whole
so-
song is kind of about like.
I was so depressed.
Anyway, I'm just gonna let it go. Just Grim Goodbye. It's their blank track on their first CD. Go check it out.
All right. Good night, everybody.
8 minutes of screaming.
Good night,
It's awesome.
Neverland.